Do you feel safe in Trump's America? That's just the golden question right there. Do you feel safe in Trump's America? No. Nope. Nope. Hell no. Hell no. Not safe. Nope. Someone said, don't fly. Someone said, I've never been more afraid. Glad I live in Sweden. Much love to Canada and Mexico. I don't even feel safe in Canada. Someone said Canadian not stepping 1 foot in the US. Someone said cluster. You could probably guess what word goes after that. Not safe at all. Not safe at all. Hell no. Hell no. Someone said, I feel safe in Canada. Someone said terrified, and they spelled it like tariff. That's pretty funny. All right, Trump did it. He launched tariffs against Canada. It seems like Trump launched a trade war against Canada with 25% tariffs on most goods. A few things are exempt. Trudeau is speaking at 5 CT, so in 2 hours. Trudeau is gonna launch retaliatory tariffs, and it could spike an entire trade war. I wanna chat about some of this because they've floated a few things, including putting tariffs on Tesla products in Canada, which would hurt Elon Musk, which would directly target one of Donald Trump's closest allies. And I want to break down just some of the implications of his tariffs, how it's really short-sighted because, I mean, there's a way to do tariffs where if you give a grace period for American manufacturers to build more plants in America, then it can help reshore manufacturing, but that's not what Trump's doing. He's bringing a sledgehammer to all of our closest alliances. Wow, this is so off the wall, sort of, but it's also what he ran on. He ran explicitly on this. Trump launches trade war against Canada with 25% tariff on most goods. US president slaps 25% tariff on most Canadian goods. Keep in mind, Canada's always been one of our closest allies, so it's pretty wild.
We are here this morning, my friends, as an unlikely group with leaders from across the political spectrum who've come together with cultural leaders, artists, academics, athletes, labor activists, and Indigenous militant activists. We represent the incredible regions of our beautiful country, and we are here for one reason. Our nation, our beloved Canada, is under threat. It is an economic threat, but it's also a threat to our values of decency and inclusion. It's a threat to our sovereignty and our very future as a nation. The threat comes, of course, from the President of the United States, a convicted felon, a known predator. He's threatening massive tariffs to try and break us as a people. But the threat is also being driven by the hate algorithms of the oligarchs like Elon Musk. And there is the threat from people in our own country who would sell out our birthright to appease the gangster class from Mar-a-Lago. That is not going to happen.
Yeah, someone said this is all a distraction. No, I think this is what they want to distract from. If Trump successfully launches a trade war against Canada and they retaliate, then we'll see the distractions to distract away from the fact that Trump couldn't lower any prices. In fact, he raised prices. This guy was spitting though. Charlie Angus was absolutely spitting. Honestly, this dude's got a stronger and more cohesive message than most Democratic politicians right now. I guess even before we talk about the tariffs that were just launched, Trudeau already floated. The people around him already floated, putting a retaliatory tariff on Tesla products. Listen to this. There's a famous quote from the movie Roadhouse that's useful for all sorts of situations. Be nice until it's not time to be nice. The people of Canada, by and large, are famous the world over for being very nice. But clearly, the current tariff situation in the US has some of them getting ready to not be nice. Any Roadhouse fans in here? In an interview with the Canadian press, the country's Liberal Party leadership candidate, Chrystia Freeland, suggested 100% tariffs be applied to a number of US-sourced goods. God bless us all, damn. In response to President Trump's threatened tariffs on Canada and Mexican imports, Freeland said those could include wine, beer, and all Teslas specifically. Stock up on your alcohol. And yes, this is because of the Tesla CEO's financial and operational support of Trump. We need to be very targeted, very surgical, and very precise, Freeland told the news outlets. To continue, Tesla's EVs sold in Canada are made in the US as well as China. Canadian tariffs would then raise their prices in that country, leading EV buyers to turn to other automakers instead, therefore directly hurting Elon Musk. See, this is what we need to do. It needs to be a direct surgical retaliation, not us. This is what Canada needs to do. You need to show Donald Trump. You need to slap him across the face and show him, dude, You can't just bully other countries like this, especially our closest allies. Freeland added, one of the characteristics of the Trump administration is they like to traffic in uncertainty. There are lots of reports about there being internal debates in the US. So let's use that to our advantage. Let's put some cards on the table and be very clear that if they hit us, we will hit them back. It's so necessary. I really hope Canada doesn't metaphorically bend the knee. Someone said until someone stands up and stops Trump, he's going to keep doing it. Yeah. Freeland, Canada's former finance minister, is running for the Liberal Party leadership spot currently held by Prime Minister Trudeau. Last year, Freeland resigned from her finance minister post, in part over disagreements on how to respond to Trump's economic threats. Musk was Trump's largest financier during the campaign and is now leading his efforts to reduce the U.S. federal government workforce, complete with similar tactics used to do mass layoffs at Twitter, which he purchased and renamed X. And keep in mind, some of the stuff that Elon Musk is doing is quite frightening. So, Musk was Trump's largest financier during the campaign and is now leading efforts to reduce the U.S. federal workforce, so Canada is trying to take a targeted approach and hit where it hurts. Broadly speaking, Canada has seen quicker EV, electric vehicle adoption, than the US, and in the third quarter of 2024, nearly 17% of new cars sold in Canada, about 1 in 6, were all electric, compared to the 8% of the US, 8% that the US finished the year at. Quebec in particular has strong incentives that have driven significant EV adoption. Not surprisingly, Tesla is the top-selling EV brand in Canada, with the Model Y and Model 3 leading by a wide margin. One more time. Tesla is the top-selling EV brand in Canada, and certain people in Canada are floating retaliatory tariffs against the US that target Tesla vehicles perfectly. There are other tariffs you can do regarding red states that would target red states perfectly. For example, if they tariff potash or something of the sort, Tesla is the top-selling EV brand in Canada. More recent statistics aren't available, but in 2023, Tesla sold at least 60,000 of those two models, the Model Y and Model 3, in Canada alone. So while that's around 10% of what Tesla sells in the US, a presumptive price spike from tariffs would certainly hurt Tesla and America's neighbor to the north. That situation would also come after Tesla's first full year of global sales decline, in a time when many buyers and current Tesla owners are fleeing from the brand in response to Musk's political maneuvering and public controversies, like him doing an effing Sieg Heil, like the Nazi salute. Tesla's first full year of global sales decline just happened, and buyers are currently maneuvering away. It's not only because of Musk's political controversies, it's honestly a lot of it's due to new competitors. Like, look at this article. Tesla sales dropped 1.1% in 2024, its first annual decline in a dozen years. And if Canada can play this right, if they can be a little bit clever and outmaneuver Trump, it's not a hard thing to do, then you can really hurt Elon Musk, or hit Elon Musk where it hurts. This situation would come, the retaliatory tariffs against Tesla that are targeted would come after Tesla's first full year of global sales declines. Trump's 25% tariffs on imports from Canada, China, and Mexico are set to begin this weekend. This was written yesterday. There was little mention of tariffs on Tesla's fourth quarter earnings call this week, save for a brief statement from the CFO. Quote, "There's a lot of uncertainty around tariffs," he said. "Over the years, we tried to localize our supply chain in every market, but we are still very reliant on parts from across the world for all of our businesses. Therefore, the imposition of tariffs, which is very likely, will have an impact on our business and profitability." Boom! Hit Elon Musk where it hurts. Do it. And if more countries follow Freeland's suggestion to decide to penalize Tesla directly over Musk's ties to Trump, it could make these trade wars all the more personal for the billionaire CEO and the president alike. God, I would love to see Elon Musk face some sort of accountability. Now, don't get your hopes up too high. I don't think Canada on day one is going to just nuke all of Tesla's profitability, but I don't think it would be unfair for other countries to kind of create a coalition to put America in pain. And this is coming from someone who loves America. But this brings us on to today. A few hours ago, Trump launched a trade war against Canada with 25% tariffs on most goods. President Trump launched a trade war against Canada on Saturday by imposing a 25% tariff on virtually all goods from the U.S.'s neighbor. This is an unprecedented strike against a long-standing ally that has the potential to throw the economy into a tailspin. Trump's long-threatened plan to inflict economic pain on Canada has materialized on the day he said it would after he moved back the timeline multiple times, and it includes a 10% tariff on Canadian energy products, according to a senior Canadian official who shared the details of Trump's plan with CBC News. And like I said, there's a way to impose tariffs where you allow the reshoring of manufacturing and you give a grace period for companies to build manufacturing plants in the US. But whether we like it or not, a lot of these plants, manufacturing plants, use immigrant labor. So there's a few contradictory things going on right here. How are you going to, for one, do mass deportations while also trying to reshore manufacturing, which would lead to a direct lack of labor? Labor is important. All right, these potentially devastating tariffs will take effect on Tuesday and remain in place until Trump is satisfied that Canada is doing enough to stop the flow of fentanyl into the US. Most fentanyl comes from the southern border. It kind of just feels like he doesn't know what he wants, to be honest. Canada is expected to hit back later Saturday with retaliatory tariffs of its own to make Trump think twice about taking on his country's biggest customer. He made the announcement today, but just think about this. When he was campaigning, he said on day one, he would impose tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. He threw out crazy numbers, 100% tariffs, 50% tariffs. He said on day one. Well, when he gets into office, on day one, he moved it back a week. He said, later this week, we're going to impose tariffs. When that date came, he moved it to February 1st. Well, now it's February 1st, and he just moved it to Tuesday, which will be what, the 4th? February 4th? So he keeps moving the timeline back, and I just really hope Canada doesn't capitulate. I really hope Justin Trudeau does not capitulate. Trump to hit Canada with 25% tariff on Tuesday. He's imposing his long-awaited tariffs. Though oil imports will not be hit as hard, he made an exemption for those. Canadian officials told the New York Times that the U.S. government informed them on Saturday that a 25% tariff will go into effect on Tuesday, but oil will carry a 10% duty. So, Canada is told steep tariffs will come Tuesday. Lord have mercy on all of us. Let's read this really quickly. Hedge funds are making a multi-million-dollar gamble against the U.S. economy, betting Donald Trump's presidency will result in a market crash that could devastate 401ks, pensions, and household savings across America. This is not a good thing. Data from Goldman Sachs has sent shockwaves through financial circles, revealing a dramatic surge in a short position against U.S. stocks, a move that signals a belief the market is headed for a crash. Precipitous crash. Not just a crash, but precipitous crash. Throughout January, investors placed 10 times more bets on America's stocks falling than on their continued rise. And remember, for all of the shit that people gave Biden about inflation, if you look up the S&P 500, which is just an index with top 500 companies, including Apple, including Google, including Tesla, the stock market was hitting all-time highs under Biden. But now we have seen a 10 times increase in bets on America's stocks falling throughout the Trump presidency rather than rising. The timing of such financial revolt is no coincidence and comes just as the world witnessed a $600 billion wipeout in major U.S. tech stocks earlier this week, driven by fears over the Chinese AI rival DeepSeek. And that's not even mentioning the tariffs. The Magnificent Seven, Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla, all suffered massive losses, leaving investors scrambling for answers. The latest hedge fund moves mark a staggering reversal from just 2 months ago, when Wall Street billionaires were pouring money into so-called Trump trades. I mean, the only Trump trade you can make right now is shorting his shitcoin. All right, following the election victory, hedge funds rushed to capitalize on what they predicted would be a golden era for corporate America, buoyed by Trump's aggressive tax cuts, tariffs, and deregulation policies. Does that lead to a golden era? Optimism led to an unprecedented influx of capital. Fund managers were riding high, but now, in a shocking twist, those same hedge fund managers are betting against the very economy they once championed. And while hedge fund billionaires stand to make hundreds of millions from a stock market collapse, the real victims of this financial gamble could be everyday American investors.